Happy Monday, everybody. Good to see you. My name is Tim Harris. It's 10 o'clock. That means it's time for 10 with Tim. We take about 10 minutes each day, Monday through Friday, and we go word for word through the Word of God, verse by verse. And so we're in the first quarter of the book of Isaiah. We're in chapters 20 and 21 today. Whew! Aren't these something? I'm glad you're with me. I'm glad you're sticking with it. Again, Isaiah has some difficult chapters, and I don't know if there's anything harder than 20 and 21, but I'm glad that we're doing it together. Again, some of you are brand new with me, and I appreciate that you are, whether you're on Spotify or YouTube or Facebook. I love you guys. If you're live, God bless you. Thank you for making, just stopping your morning at 10 o'clock and reading the word with me. Thank you for doing that. That means the world to me. Most of you aren't doing that. I get that. You can't. You got work, whatever. You're watching me at lunch. You're watching me over the weekend. I get it, whatever. But I'm so glad that you're in the Word of God. That's all I'm trying for. That's why I do what I do. I just want to encourage you to be in the Word. And honestly, you encourage me in the Word. And so we're making each other better. We're keeping each other in the Word. Isaiah chapter 20. Y'all, I apologize for Isaiah, showing his rear end to you here. But that's it. That's what it is. Now, chapter 20 really tracks right along with historical events. So believe it or not, if you know or do a little bit of research into the history there, the prophecy tracks right along with it. Sargon is the Assyrian emperor. If you remember, he defeated the northern kingdom of Israel in, I think that was like 722, something like that. And so now you see he's tracking south, coming up in Ashdod, the one of the cities of Philistia. Ashdod, anyway, Ashdod, that battle happens around 711, something like that. I'm not real sure, but there was a coalition, Philistia, Egypt, and Ethiopia at that battle at that time, and that's what this passage is calling attention to. Now, Isaiah, mostly is a poet, which we appreciate, when he keeps his drawers on and just, writes poems for prophecy. We'd rather read a sermon than see a sermon, the way he shows us this one. For 3 years, you thought Isaiah was boring, right? For 3 years, Isaiah walked around, naked and barefoot, which was shocking to the church, I'm sure. Can't believe he kept his job. But anyway, he walked around naked, showing his bare bottom and his bare feet for 3 years. It was a sermon. It was, it sounds like something from, Ezekiel. He's acting out the sermon. He's basically embodying the humiliation that's coming to Ethiopia and to Egypt, according to the passage here. For the king of Assyria will take away the Egyptians and Ethiopians as prisoners. He'll make them walk naked and barefoot, both young and old, their buttocks bared to the shame of Egypt. So Isaiah, lived out this humiliation as a prophetic word to Ethiopia and Egypt. Again, these are exciting historical events. It's just kind of funny that chapter 20. It's a short passage. I'll grant you. Only just 6 verses, but most of the verses seem more interested in Isaiah, showing his hind end, the way he enacts this sermon, which I guess when it comes right down to it, that is kind of more interesting. But anyway, don't anybody ever say that preachers are boring now. We can bring a 3-year sermon that'll never be forgotten, and that's what Isaiah does here. The end of the passage was really, really interesting. If this can happen to Egypt, what chance do we have? How will we escape? The effect of this defeat at Ashdod is to sort of reveal the unreliability of Egypt. And here, the idea is that all of those who have trusted, in Egypt, if Egypt is your hope, then you're hopeless. And this word here includes Judah. Judah has put its hope in Egypt too. And this is an indictment against Judah as well. Anybody who puts their hope in anybody else but the Lord, If this can happen in Egypt, what chance do we have? Well, it goes back to what Isaiah said earlier. Either you stand in faith in the Lord or you don't stand at all. And so anyway, what a colorful sermon there. On to chapter 21. If you thought chapter 20 was, a real rip snorter, wait till you get to chapter 21. Chapter 21 is such a cryptic and elusive passage that one of the commentaries I read actually said that the only comfort he had in writing about this chapter is knowing that nobody ever reads it unless they have to write a commentary, which is I guess is kind of true. I don't know anybody that's ever preached Isaiah chapter 21. Again, it's the word of God, but so much of what would help us interpret it is just kind of lost. It starts out in the first 10 verses, sort of the fall of Babylon, but at the same time, there's this real sense in which the historical crisis, the historical event of the fall of Babylon, which we know happened, but like so many other passages in Isaiah, it seems to look past that to more of the apocalyptic end of the known world. It starts out, kind of simple enough, disasters roaring down on you from the desert. Again, this word against Babylon, like a whirlwind. It's this idea of this giant windstorm, which is the armies coming up against Babylon. But then, like I say, verses 3 and 4, it's more like apocalyptic, almost as if, it's the end of everything. My stomach aches, burns with pain, sharp pangs are upon me. I grow faint when I hear what the Lord is planning. It's that fear, that terror that might inflict someone who's picturing the end of everything, the end of the whole world. Verse 5, look, they're preparing a great feast. They're spreading rugs for people to sit on. Everyone is eating and drinking. That's really common when you talk about the end of the world, especially when Jesus, the whole idea that like a thief in the night, nobody's going to expect it. And here they're eating and drinking, just as it was in the days of Noah, so it shall be coming to the Son of Man, people eating and drinking. It's like they're just so oblivious. We are so oblivious, so very opulent and comfortable and not in any way prepared for the onslaught of God's judgment that is coming. Quick, grab your shields, prepare for battle. You're being attacked. It's like the early warning system failed, and all of a sudden, the enemy is on you. Again, it's that whole thief in the night idea. Meanwhile, the Lord said to me, put a watchman on the city wall and let him shout what he sees. Tell him to look for chariots drawn by horses, riders on donkeys and camels. It's like every possible mode of transportation in their day. Keep your eyes open. Keep a watch. Day after day I've stood on the watchtower, my Lord. Night after night I've remained at my post. Now at last look, here comes a man in a chariot, a pair of horses. Babylon has fallen. The news has come even before the people had known what was coming. Babylon has fallen. Again, there is just this sense that we're talking about Babylon. We're also talking about the end of the destroyer, the end of all things. And it's just kind of puzzling, interesting, but puzzling. Verses 11 and 12, New Living Translation calls it a message about Edom. The Hebrew word there is Duma, which is kind of the word for stillness or silence. We don't know if it's a place. Nobody really knows nobody knows what this is talking about. New Living Translation just chooses to refer to Edom. It could be a misspelling of Edom. I don't know. Nobody knows. Again, it's just kind of an elusive message once more. Next, verses 13 to 15, kind of a word against the desert plain. Again, New Living Translation calls it Arabia. It's just, it's hard to know. It's just hard to know these messages, these brief, oracles, which just, pronounce this word of doom and warning and keeping watch. And it may seem like the morning is coming, but the night's going to come right back. And it's like, this onslaught of judgment and doom is just going to keep coming in wave after wave after wave. Finally, at the end there, 16 and 17, the word about Kedar. Within a year, counting each day, all the glory of Kedar will come to an end. Only a few of its courageous archers will survive. I, the Lord, the God of Israel, have spoken. I can say that's just a hard chapter. Nobody really knows exactly what it's referring to. Fall of Babylon's clear enough, but like I say, it always seems to look beyond historical realities to the coming of the end of all things. And we know that is coming, and maybe that's just what we're supposed to know, that when the Lord comes, it will be dreadful. People will cry out for the mountains to fall upon them. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just that terror that comes when the Lord comes in the end as a thief. Perhaps that's what chapter 22 points to. Pick up right here in the morning. We'll pick up in chapter 22 verses 1 to 25. So again, pick up with me in chapter 22 tomorrow, verses 1 to 25, a message about Jerusalem, and we'll see that. I know it's the 4th of July tomorrow, but I'm not going to take a day off. Don't you take a day off. We can celebrate. We can cook hot dogs, celebrate America. We can still spend 10 minutes in the Word, all right? So sometime tomorrow, join me. I will be here at 10 o'clock, and we'll do chapter 22, Isaiah chapter 22, okay? Have a good Monday. I know where I'll be. I'll be at Myers. It's my day off. Hopefully mow my yard today. My mower blew up last week, so maybe mow, maybe not mow, but I'll certainly get groceries because we got to eat.